May 7th, 2008, the Helmsley Palace Hotel, New York City. Under the glow of crystal chandeliers, Albert Gonzalez is celebrating his 27th birthday with a $75,000 party worthy of a cartel boss. Champagne flows, models laugh, hackers whisper in side rooms. Albert, draped in a custom suit that costs more than most people's cars, lifts a glass of Dom Perignon and smiles. He believes he's invincible. But across the street, parked in a nondescript van, 3 FBI agents are snapping photos of every guest. What Gonzalez doesn't know is that tonight's guest list will become federal evidence. Because Albert isn't just the host, he's also the FBI's most valuable informant. Codename, CumbaJohnny. For 3 years, he's helped the Bureau hunt cybercriminals in the shadows of the dark web. But Albert has a secret. While feeding intel to the feds, he's orchestrating the largest financial data breach in U.S. history, right under their noses. His list of victims reads like a Fortune 500 graveyard: TJX, BJ's Wholesale, Office Max, Dave and Buster's, 7-Eleven, Hannaford, Heartland Payment Systems. By the time the Bureau realizes the truth, their prized informant will have stolen 170 million credit and debit card numbers. He partied with millionaires while burying cash in his parents' backyard. He wiretapped the world while wearing a wire himself. And in the end, he made the FBI look like pawns in his billion-dollar game. How does America's top cyber informant become its most dangerous hacker? And what happens when the hunter becomes the heist? Welcome back to Covert Case Histories. Albert Gonzalez is born in Cuba, and his family immigrated to Miami when he was 2. By 12, he's coding. By 14, he's hacking. Not for money, for the challenge, the thrill, the proof that he's smarter than the systems designed to keep him out. During the late 1990s in Miami is like a petri dish for teenage cybercrime. Dial-up internet, chat rooms, no laws yet. Albert visits underground forums. Here, hackers trade exploits and stolen data like baseball cards. He goes by CumbaJohnny and Soup Nazi, like the Seinfeld character. He's that bold and arrogant. By 2000, Albert, just 19, discovers carding. It's the black market trade of stolen credit card numbers. It's shockingly simple. Hack a retailer's database, extract card numbers, sell them on forums for $5 to $50 each, depending on credit limits. Criminals buy them in bulk, clone the cards, and drain accounts before victims notice. Albert realizes carding isn't just profitable, it's scalable. Steal 1 card, make $50. Steal 1 million cards, make $50 million. And the punishment? At this point in history, almost non-existent. Federal cybercrime laws are years behind the technology. In 2002, Albert co-founded Shadow Crew. This private forum is for top hackers to trade stolen financial data, fake IDs, and hacking tools. Think of it as eBay for cybercriminals. The site has 4,000 members. Transactions run into the millions. Shadow Crew isn't just a marketplace, it's a community. Hackers mentor each other, share exploits, brag about their scores. Albert is now a top vendor, selling thousands of stolen card numbers each week. He's making 6 figures by age 21, drives a BMW, rents a condo on Miami Beach, all while living with his parents and pretending he's just a freelance programmer. But then, the Shadow Crew draws attention. In 2003, the U.S. Secret Service started Operation Firewall. This multi-agency task force aimed to shut down the site and arrest its operators. They focus on protecting the financial system. Later, around July 2003, Albert makes a mistake. He's at a New Jersey apartment with fellow hackers when agents kick in the door. They seize laptops, hard drives, and Albert himself. He's 22 years old, facing decades in federal prison for identity theft and conspiracy. Most hackers lawyer up. Albert does something different. He flips, and he doesn't just flip. He becomes the FBI's golden boy, the informant who could unlock the entire cybercrime underworld. What the FBI doesn't realize is they've just made a deal with the devil. August 2003. Albert sits in a Newark interrogation room. Secret Service agents and FBI cybercrime specialists surround him. They lay out the evidence. Thousands of stolen cards. Communications proving he's a Shadow Crew vendor. Enough to bury him for 20 years. Then they offer him a deal. Cooperate or go to prison. Albert doesn't hesitate. He'll give them everything. Member lists, hacking techniques, ongoing operations. In exchange, immunity. No jail time. Just help us catch the big fish, they tell him. Albert smiles. Deal. What happens next is unprecedented. Albert isn't just a tipster on Shadow Crew. He becomes an active FBI asset. His code name is CumbaJohnny. He goes back undercover into the forum, now wearing a digital wire. Every conversation recorded, every transaction logged. He identifies moderators, tracks money flows, and sets up sting operations. For the FBI, Albert is a dream come true. He speaks the language, knows the players, can navigate the dark web with ease. He helps them map the entire ecosystem of cybercrime. Over the next year, Albert's information leads to Operation Firewall's climax. October 2004. Simultaneous raids across 8 countries. 28 arrests. Shadow Crew is dismantled. The FBI calls it the largest cybercrime bust in history. Press conferences are held. Agents shake hands. Albert Gonzalez is hailed internally as a hero. But there's a problem. Albert never stopped hacking. The day he cut his deal, Albert made a calculation. The FBI needed him more than he needed them. They wanted arrests. He wanted freedom. And in that freedom, he saw opportunity. As the Bureau tried to take down Shadow Crew, Albert quietly moved on to something much bigger. Direct corporate breaches. No middlemen, no forums, just him, his laptop, and the payment systems of America's biggest retailers. And the best part? His FBI handlers had no idea. How does an informant get away with hacking while under federal supervision? Because Albert understands something crucial. The FBI doesn't monitor him 24/7. They meet him for debriefs. He files reports. But between meetings, he's invisible. And in that invisibility, he becomes a ghost. Albert is living 2 lives. By day, he's the FBI's top informant. He attends meetings, files reports, and helps prosecute Shadow Crew members. By night, he's assembling the team that will pull off the biggest cybercrime in history. He recruits 2 fellow hackers, Damon Patrick Toey and Christopher Scott. Toey is a hacker from San Diego who specializes in network intrusions. Scott handles logistics and money laundering. Together, they form a crew. And their target? Every major retailer in America. Their weapon of choice? SQL injection attacks occur when hackers place harmful code in a website's search bar or login field. This tricks the database into exposing its data. It's shockingly simple. In 2005, many companies ignore these vulnerabilities. They believe no one is paying attention. Albert is looking, and he's about to rewrite the economics of cybercrime. 2005, the TJX breach. July 2005. Albert and his team focus on TJX companies. This is the parent company of TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods. They don't hack from home. Too traceable. They park outside TJX stores in Miami and Minneapolis. They use laptops and strong Wi-Fi antennas. They scan for the store's wireless networks, which connect back to corporate headquarters. The encryption is weak. They crack it in hours. Inside the network, they plant sniffers. These tools capture credit card data as it travels from cash registers to the main database. Every swipe, every transaction, copied and sent to Albert's server. The breach continues undetected for 18 months. By December 2006, Albert has harvested 45.6 million credit and debit card numbers from TJX alone. It's the largest data breach in history at the time. Damages exceed $200 million, and TJX has no idea they've been breached. 2006 to 2007, the shopping spree. Emboldened by success, Albert accelerates. He visits BJ's Wholesale Club, Office Max, Boston Market, Barnes & Noble, Sports Authority, Forever 21, and DSW Shoe Warehouse. The pattern is identical. Weak wireless encryption, SQL injections, sniffers. Millions of cards stolen, then sold on underground forums for $10 to $50 each. Albert isn't just stealing data. He's industrializing theft. At his peak, his operation is pulling in $2 million per month. He launders the money through shell companies, cryptocurrency exchanges, and offshore accounts. He buys luxury cars, a $600,000 condo, Rolex watches. He throws parties, big wild ones, champagne flows, and cash is tossed around like confetti. His FBI handlers. They think he's helping them catch criminals. They have no idea their informant just became America's most wanted. But Albert makes one critical error. He gets greedy. And when you're stealing from everyone, eventually someone notices. December 2007. Albert aims for the crown jewel, Heartland Payment Systems. This New Jersey company handles credit and debit card transactions. They serve 175,000 merchants across the country. If TJX were a bank, Heartland would be like Fort Knox. The scale is staggering. Heartland processes 100 million transactions per month. Every swipe at a gas station, grocery store, restaurant, it flows through Heartland's servers. If Albert can breach Heartland, he won't just steal cards. He'll have access to the entire payment infrastructure of American commerce. December 2007. Albert and his team launch a SQL injection attack against Heartland's corporate website. They find a vulnerability in the payment application. Within hours, they're inside the network. They plant sniffers on the servers that process live transactions. For the next 12 months, Albert siphons card data in real time. Every transaction, every swipe, copied and stored. The scale is incomprehensible. By January 2009, Heartland finds a major breach. Albert has stolen 130 million credit and debit card numbers. This is the biggest breach ever. Total damages exceed $200 million. Heartland's stock plummets. The CEO resigns. And Albert Gonzalez? He's sitting in his Miami condo, counting money. But he's not stopping. In 2008, he hits 7-Eleven and Hannaford Brothers Supermarket, adding millions more cards to his collection. His total haul now exceeds 170 million stolen cards. If every card sold for just $10, that's $1.7 billion in potential black market value. By now, Albert is untouchable. Or so he thinks. He's spending $75,000 on birthday parties and burying cash in his parents' yard. Meanwhile, the Secret Service is putting the clues together, and they're about to realize their worst nightmare. The FBI's star informant is the mastermind they've been hunting. March 2008, the Secret Service's Cybercrime division notices a pattern. Multiple breaches, similar techniques, same malware signatures. They start calling it Operation Get Rich or Die Trying, Albert's own nickname for his crew. Investigators trace stolen cards back to underground forums. They monitor chat rooms, and slowly, they piece together the identity of the seller. Someone with technical sophistication. Someone who knows how federal investigations work. Someone who's been untouchable for years. Albert Gonzalez. But there's a problem. Albert is an FBI informant. He has handlers, immunity. The revelation sends shockwaves through the interagency task force. How is this possible? How did no one notice? The answer is embarrassing. The FBI's Cybercrime division didn't communicate with the Secret Service's Financial Crimes Unit. Albert filed his informant reports, attended his debriefs, but no one checked what he was doing between meetings. The left hand didn't know the right hand was robbing them blind. By May 2008, the evidence is undeniable. Forensic analysis links Albert's IP addresses to the breaches. His encrypted communications are decrypted. His offshore accounts are traced. The FBI's Golden Boy is the biggest cybercriminal in American history. May 7, 2008, the day of his birthday party. FBI agents are already building the case. They photograph the guests, document the spending. They see him celebrating with stolen money. He's throwing a party funded by the biggest data breach ever. 3 months later, the hammer drops. August 5th, 2008. Albert is arrested at a hotel in New York. Secret Service agents storm his room at dawn. They seize his laptops, hard drives, and $1.1 million in cash. They search his parents' backyard in Miami and find another $1 million. It's buried in plastic bags, just sitting in the dirt like a drug lord's stash. Albert faces 19 charges. These include conspiracy, computer fraud, wire fraud, and identity theft. Prosecutors call it the largest hacking case in U.S. history. The indictment is 25 pages long. And yet, Albert smirks during his arraignment because he knows something the FBI doesn't. Most of the money is still hidden. Offshore accounts, cryptocurrency wallets, assets scattered across a dozen countries. The feds got him, but they didn't get everything. March 2010, U.S. District Court, Massachusetts. Albert Gonzalez stands before a judge. He's pleaded guilty to avoid trial. His lawyers beg for leniency. Albert offers a tearful apology. "I was addicted to hacking," he tells the court. "It was never about the money." The judge isn't buying it. Albert Gonzalez received a 20-year federal prison sentence. This is one of the longest sentences ever given for cybercrime. Prosecutors call it a warning to the digital underworld. You can't hack your way out of consequences. Albert serves his time at the Federal Correctional Institution in Milan, Michigan. Medium security. Other inmates know who he is, the hacker who beat the FBI at their own game. But Albert keeps his head down. He teaches computer literacy classes to fellow inmates, reads books on cybersecurity, writes letters to researchers asking for academic papers on network security. Because Albert is doing something no one expects. He's studying. Legitimately. 2020. After 12 years, Albert is released for good behavior and helping the authorities. He's 39 years old. Most ex-cons struggle to find work. Albert enrolls at a university. He completes a bachelor's degree, then a master's in cybersecurity. He writes papers on the vulnerabilities he used to exploit. Now, he focuses on how to prevent them. He lectures at security conferences under supervised conditions. Slowly, quietly, he rebuilds his reputation. Not as a hacker, as an expert who learned the hard way. 2023. Albert Gonzalez is hired as an assistant professor in a university's cybersecurity program. The administration knows his history. They vet him thoroughly. Background checks, psychological evaluations, monitoring agreements, but they also recognize something valuable. Who better to teach future security experts than someone who knows all the system's flaws? The students don't know at first. Then word spreads. That's the Albert Gonzalez, the guy who stole 170 million credit cards. Some are horrified. Others are fascinated. Albert doesn't hide from it. On the first day of class, he introduces himself. My name is Albert Gonzalez. I'm a convicted felon. I stole more credit cards than anyone in history. I betrayed the FBI while working as their informant. I spent 12 years in federal prison. And now, I'm here to make sure none of you make the mistakes I did. January 2025. Albert Gonzalez is promoted to Dean of Cybersecurity Studies at his university. The announcement makes headlines. Cybersecurity forums explode with debate. A criminal teaching ethics? Some call it redemption. Others call it a disgrace. But here's what no one can argue. Under Albert's leadership, the program's job placement rate is 98%. Students intern at the FBI, Secret Service, NSA, and Fortune 500 companies. Because Albert doesn't just teach theory, he teaches reality. He brings in guest speakers who hunted him. He shows students actual malware he wrote, then explains how it was defeated. He guides them through the psychology of cybercrime. They explore the thrill of hacking and the harsh consequences it brings. And every semester, he tells them the same thing. I was the best hacker the FBI ever recruited. I had immunity. I had freedom. And I threw it all away because I thought I was smarter than everyone. I wasn't. I was just luckier until I wasn't. You want to be hackers? Fine. Hack for the good guys, because the other path ends in a cell or a grave. And I got lucky with just the cell. In 2025, Albert Gonzalez is 44 years old. He lives in a modest apartment near campus, drives a used sedan, no Rolexes, no parties, no buried cash. He's monitored by federal authorities for life, periodic check-ins, financial audits, restricted travel. He'll never escape his past. But he's doing something almost unprecedented in cybercrime history. He's teaching the people who will defend against the next version of himself. The FBI still won't officially comment on Albert Gonzalez. Some agents privately say hiring him was their biggest mistake, but letting him teach could be the system's best chance for redemption. A man who stole 170 million credit cards is now showing people how to keep the next thief from taking 171 million. Is it redemption? Is it manipulation? Is it just a convicted felon playing the long game? Is he trying to stay relevant in a world he can never truly leave? Maybe it's all three. Maybe Albert Gonzalez finally learned the lesson that prison couldn't teach him. The real hack isn't breaking into systems. It's breaking out of the person you used to be. Or maybe, just maybe, he's still the same con artist who fooled the FBI. And this time, his mark is everyone who believes he's changed. After all, he's done it before. The hacker who stole 170 million credit cards is now showing your kids how to stay safe online. If that doesn't terrify you, nothing will. One man, one wire, one of the largest betrayals in FBI cybercrime history. Albert Gonzalez didn't just abuse the system. He became the glitch in the system. If this operation shook your trust in justice, it should. But the rabbit hole runs deeper. At Covert Case Histories, we uncover the true stories hidden beneath headlines. Stories of hackers, informants, digital ghosts, and the broken systems that enable them. Don't let this be the last secret you uncover. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay sharp. Because next week's case, it might change how you see the world. This is Covert Case Histories, where the truth has no firewall.